Good morning. We are back for day 30 of our devotion, Upon Waking by Jackie Hill Perry. We're halfway through today, and I'm excited about it. We're halfway through. So let's hop in. Today's scripture comes from Deuteronomy chapter 15, verses 7 and 8. If there is any among you in need, a member of your community, in any of your towns within the land that the Lord your God is giving you, do not be hard-hearted or tight-fisted toward your needy neighbor. You should rather open your hand willingly, lending enough to meet the need, whatever it may be. The devotion says, if ever you despise being needed by people, children, friends, spouses, ministry responsibilities, or whatever, remember God. On earth, he was, and in heaven, he is always needed by somebody. We need him to live and move and have our being, according to Acts 17 and 28. The activity of our lungs, limbs, and life is dependent on God. As fruitful as we might be in whatever mission we find ourselves commissioned to, the growth belongs to someone transcendent of us. The grace given to do is the same grace that was provided for you to be. Both the being and the calling speak to an innate need. Jesus said it this way, apart from me, you can do nothing. That's John 15 and 5. As in, no thing can be done if Jesus doesn't do it. The reasons we sometimes despise being needy and needed are as diverse as an autumn sky. It would be no surprise if somewhere beneath it all is an atomic echo. The ground needed his hands. His hands needed Eve's help. After falling, they were still needy, but their perception of themselves, each other, and the world shifted, and thus they lacked the wisdom and purity to discern their needs correctly. A consequence of this is the impulse to live independently of one another, choosing self-sufficiency over community. We say things like, I don't need nobody. So if ever somebody needs you, depending on your family of origin, you may be inclined to shame them for not idolizing independence as much as you do. We then refuse the call to cultivate and keep anything other than our own selves. And God forbid somebody needs our love, our sacrifice, our time, our wisdom. It is then that our brother Cain resurrects in us, saying, am I my brother's keeper? What's striking about Jesus' earthly ministry is not only his response to folks' constant need, but his inner disposition before meeting them. And Jesus went throughout all the cities and villages, teaching in their synagogues and proclaiming the gospel of the kingdom and healing every disease and every affliction. When he saw the crowds, he had compassion for them because they were harassed and helpless like sheep without a shepherd. That's Matthew 9:35 and 36. People needed the good news, healing from various bodily diseases and afflictions, and knowing this, Jesus met them because he cared. The deepest parts of Jesus's being, like a mother's love for her child, moved Jesus to meet folks where they were. So a part of embracing the fact that you are needed in whatever space you have been called is identifying your own need for compassion. Once you receive it, then you can give it. Very interesting perspective today from day 30 of our devotion. Talking about being needed. And some of us, I've been guilty of this when she was talking about idolizing independence. Sometimes it's easy for us to look at others because they're not as independent as others may be, or because they may seem like they're constantly in need of something, right? And to kind of have these thoughts, of why can't they get it together? What's going on with them? Every time you turn around, they need something. But Jackie Hill Perry is pointing out to here that is why we're here, because the reality is we are often in need. We're in need of mercy. We're in need of grace. We're in need of a helping hand from time to time, right? And so with this, I say it very often, the Bible tells us, freely as you have received, freely give. So the same way we're quick to want mercy, the same way we're quick to want people to forgive us when we mess up and we make a mistake, the same way we're quick and we want people to understand where we are when something happens, when we may have acted out of character. We want them to understand, that we were just having a moment or that we were just in a space. We should be just as quick to show that same compassion, to show that same mercy and that same grace towards others. If you're called into ministry, and we're all called into ministry because we're all called to be ministers of the gospel of Jesus Christ, you're going to be needed. In this world, we're going to need others. That's just a reality. God created us to be a community. Even from the very beginning, he said that it was not good for Adam to be alone. So we're going to need others. We're going to need help in some capacity. Whether you're married, if you're not married, if you have family, if you have friends, coworkers, you're going to need someone in some capacity. The same compassion that you want others to have on you, be sure to give that same compassion to others. It's easy to look down in judgment of why that person's in that space, or I wonder what they did to cause them to get there. Jesus didn't call us to do that. He called us to have compassion on others and to be led of the Spirit as we help others, right? Have compassion on others today. That is my admonishment to all of us today, to remember to have compassion upon others. Freely as you have received it, freely give it. I love you guys. I pray that the blessing of the Lord that maketh rich and adds no sorrow chases you down and overtakes you today. I'll see you back here tomorrow for day 31 of our devotion. Have an amazing day. Bye-bye.